Welcome to Quality Branding Hub. The channel is for the quality control engineer, site engineer, and the civil engineer who are working in the construction field. In this channel, we are dealing with anything and everything which is required to get success in the construction. Today also, I will discuss about a very important topics. In the last video, I discussed about the gypsum plaster. Now, we have another type of plaster that is a common plaster and widely used, that is the cement plaster. Now, what is the difference in between cement plaster and the gypsum plaster? What is the base material? What is the use and where to use gypsum and where to use plaster, cement plaster? So, in today's video, I will discuss each and everything about the comparison in between cement plaster and the gypsum plaster. And so stay tuned until the end to get the full information. And if you are new in my channel, kindly subscribe my channel and hit the bell icon so that whenever I upload a new video, you will get immediate notification. So without wasting time, let's jump into the subject, that is comparison in between cement plaster and the gypsum plaster. Now first, whenever we are working in India, we need to follow the Indian code, that is IS code, and each and every activity whatever we are following at the site, we have the code and we need to follow that code without questioning anything. Now that code we need to know first to start any activity. So for the cement plaster, what is the IS code? That is IS 166111972, reaffirmed in 2022. That is a code of practice for application of cement and cement lime plaster. And along with that, IS 269, IS 1489, IS 455, IS 8042, that is for the other cement types that you need to use, because the cement plaster is base is cement along with the sand and mixing with the water we need to plug. So that is why what type of cement you want to use for the plaster, that is also to be recommended. On the other hand, the gypsum plaster is IS 2547 part 1 and part 2, which is specially designed for the gypsum plaster in the next is the base material, because we need to know what is the base material. In the cement plaster, all you will know that the cement and the sand and mixing with the water, and sometimes we are always using, sometimes we are using admixture also, but and sometimes you add into the silicone and something else which is a crack, has the crack bridging capacity to reduces the cracks on the surface. So cement is the base material along with the sand and the water and crack bridging material like silicone and something else. And on the other hand, what is the base material for gypsum? The calcined gypsum, that is the gypsum is to be heated to reduce the water. The normal gypsum is CaSO4 When it is heated, it forms the CaSO4.5 H2O and form a crystalline formation that we call the gypsum, and we add water into that gypsum and make a homogeneous paste to apply on the surface. So this is the base material difference, cement sand, and is the calcined gypsum. The next is a mixed proportion. Now mixed proportion is varied for the cement plaster. Sometimes it's 1.4, sometimes it's 1.6, sometimes it's 1.23, depending upon the area of use. It is varied, and it is mentioned in the IS 1661, which is the code for the cement plaster, cement lime plaster, or in the specification. In every project has the specification, and that project you have mentioned, already mentioned what is the mixed proportion into the cement plaster. So you need to follow, you need to check what is the mixed proportion, and accordingly you need to add the water into the mix. And on the other hand, gypsum plaster, generally gypsum plaster mixing proportion is given in the IS 2547 or the manufacturer recommendation. Whoever manufacturing the gypsum, they will give the recommendation that how much water is to be added into the mixing. But here it is a catch that you need to mix with the mechanical mixer. By hand you cannot mix the gypsum with the water, because then it will not produce a homogeneous paste and you cannot apply for the plaster. Then the thickness of the coat, the usually 12 mm to 20 mm for the plaster, for the cement plaster. In the ceiling 6 mm we are doing, internal 12 mm and outside 20 mm we are doing, but the greater thickness also can be used, and that will be the 2 coat with the special precaution. And on the other hand, the gypsum plaster, it is 6 to 12 mm and the maximum there is a limitation in the thickness. That is the one limitation of the gypsum plaster, that we cannot go beyond the 20 mm or 25 mm. That if it is go, the special precaution you need to take, otherwise it is pull off test you need to conduct it, or the addition, what is the addition in between gypsum and the base material, that you need to check, otherwise it will fall down. So that is a restriction in the coat thickness in the gypsum plaster. Now the setting time, cement plaster is as per the cement, that is the initial setting time not less than 30 minutes and final setting time not more than the 600 time. But on the other hand, the gypsum plaster, the minimum time is 30 minutes. So whenever you are adding water into the mix within the 30 minutes, or as per the manufacturer recommendation, you need to place, or you need to apply the plaster on the surface, otherwise it will become dry and you cannot use that one. So here is also a time constraint, but use the plaster into the gypsum plaster. And then surface finish requires curing and further putty coat for the paint for the smooth finish. See here in the cement plaster you need curing, you need further rendering coat like POP or the wall putty to make a smooth finish. But on the other hand, gypsum, you don't need any curing because it's not required curing and it is the final product. You can directly apply paint on this, so no need for the putty. So here is also advantage of the gypsum plaster. Then curing requirement, as I already discussed, the cement plaster is required curing as the per the method in IS 456 or the concrete curing method, same method you need to apply. But on the other hand, gypsum plaster, no curing is required. So it is the added advantage for the gypsum plaster. And drying time before painting, so minimum 10 to 14 days is required before start the wall putty or the painting work for the cement plaster. But on the other hand, gypsum plaster, within 72 hours we can start the painting work. So here is this also acceleration of the project, so that time delay will not happen. Then the cement plaster, you have to wait to 12 to 14 days and you need to curing that one. But gypsum plaster, within 40 to 72 hours you can start the painting. So our progress will be more, and our progress will be in the first rung. And workability, yes, workability is required, because how we will work on the site and how it is easy to work, that is a depend on the or the measurement of the workability. In the concrete, we always making the workability, because we need to place the concrete, we need to transport the concrete, we need to vibrate the concrete. So these are all how we can make it easily. That is the workability of the concrete. But in the plaster mix, that is whenever you are using cement, the same workability has to be applied. So it is harder to work with required skill, labor and proper mixing. For the cement plaster, if you are not mixing properly, you will not get the workability, and it is a very much difficult to work with this inconsistent or inconsistent mixes. On the other hand, gypsum, easy to apply and finish, high workability. Only you need to follow what is the water percentage, and you need to use the mechanical mixer whenever you are mixing the water with the gypsum. Then shrinkage and cracking, because it is the thing in the concrete, it is a just a nightmare for any quality control engineer. In the shrinkage cracks, it can generate, it is a common phenomenon. So in the cement plaster, the shrinkage cracks will come due to cement hydration, it will come. But on the other hand, the gypsum has the low shrinkage crack capacity, so very fine crystalline structure, that is reduces the cracking. But on the other hand, the cement plaster, it has prone to shrinkage cracking. That is why we need to Teflon you to use, we need to fiber mesh you have to use, or some chemical that is reduces the crack due to the shrinkage or the thermal. So the special attention or the special precaution you need to take to avoid the shrinkage cracks in the cement plaster. Then the fire resistance, cement is always a fire resistance good, cement is non-combustible, and the gypsum, it is excellent, because gypsum releases water of crystallization, providing high fire resistance. So whenever the fire resistance is the capacity, go for the gypsum plaster rather than the cement plaster. And what is the thermal and acoustic performance? cement plaster is a moderate because it is not the thermal or acoustic performance, but gypsum is a better but not exactly the high quality, but it's a better thermal sound insulation due to this the porosity. So if you are thinking about the thermal and acoustic performance also, you can go to with the gypsum plaster, but the you need to think about the cost, you need to think about the where the area you are using, what is the environment here. So these are all the things you need to select whether the gypsum plaster is suitable or not, because it cannot use outside, because when the weather is water is coming and it will deteriorate. So you need to think where the area of use and what is the condition of the environment. That after that, if you select gypsum plaster, it is always helpful to thermal and acoustic performance. Now suitability, as I discussed, it is suitable for external or internal area for the cement plaster, but the gypsum plaster, it is only for the internal surfaces, not recommended for damp or wet areas, otherwise it will come out from the surfaces. Now it's a durability, because whenever we are working, we are not thinking that how it will work done, but the durability, how long it will be without deteriorating. So the durability also, how it is withstand with the water, with the environment. So the durability also you need to think. See, cement plaster is a highly durable in external and weather condition, but on the other hand, the gypsum plaster is limited durability in moist condition, so it can causes damp if the moisture is there inside the building or in the other areas, that can catch the moisture and damp can happen. So for the concern of the durability, always go for the cement plaster. And cost, cement plaster is generally cheaper in material but costlier in labor and curing, and the gypsum plaster slightly expensive material but sub cost in time and finishing. So both has the pros and cons, and according to your project requirement and according to your core budget, you need to select, and according to area of use, you need to select what type of plaster you will follow in your project. There is environmental impact. Now it is very much important to think about the environment, because we are living in this mother earth. Now it is our duty to keep our mother earth safe. So what is our duty? We should keep the lower carbon footprint whenever we are selecting our material, whenever we are doing any type of construction. So for the cement plaster, we need cement, and the cement production, carbon dioxide is releasing into the environment as a byproduct. So it is not the environmental friendly. So this has the detrimental effect on the environment. But on the gypsum, more eco-friendly due to lower energy consumption in production. But in the cement production is high energy is required. So always, if you think about our environment, go for the gypsum plaster, because gypsum plaster is eco-friendly product than the cement plaster. And what is the typical application? This external walls, ceilings, damp areas, high impact zones, that's all we can use the cement plaster. But in the gypsum plaster, the interior work in ceiling, where the decorative one, the architectural finish is required, go for the gypsum, because you can make whatever you want with the gypsum. So if it is a architectural finish, decorative item, go for the gypsum plaster. So these are all about the comparison in between gypsum plaster and the cement plaster. I hope you find it useful, and if you find it useful, kindly subscribe my channel and hit the bell icon, so that whenever I upload a new video, you will get immediate notification. And I'm waiting for your valuable comments, so that from your valuable comment, everybody will be benefited. And if you want to know anything more about quality control and construction, please let me know. I will come with more content like this. And thank you once again for watching me.